Several years ago, I bought an investment property in Galveston, Texas. Now that shouldn't be a big deal. It's an exciting thing, and it should be easy for somebody like me to go find a property manager to hire. Because see, I own a property management company here in Denver, Colorado. My dad started in 1978, so I should know about property management. So now I'm finding myself interviewing property managers, and I suddenly didn't know what to do. I didn't know what questions to ask. I was at a loss. And this is something that as realtors, we experience on a regular basis. Either our clients will ask us for a property manager referral, or maybe we're considering looking to hire a property manager ourselves. So here are 7 quick, easy questions to ask a potential property manager to decide if maybe they're a good fit for what you're looking for. So number 1, how long have you been in business? In the property management industry, it's tough. You can't fake it in this industry. So if somebody has a track record of success, that's a pretty good first indicator that they know what they're doing, that they've been around for a period of time. Those people that are just starting off in this business, that may not be worth the risk of giving them your property. Easy one. Second question, what's your lease renewal rate? Now I find that many property management companies don't even know what their lease renewal rate is. But the most expensive expense that you can have as a property investor is turnover. You don't want turnover. The best way to avoid turnover is to have a tenant in place who renews their lease. A good property manager, a good property management company is going to have a very high lease renewal rate, hopefully upward of 75%. Less than that tells you that maybe they're not taking good care of their tenants during the time that the tenant's in place, but you want that 75% plus lease renewal. That's going to tell you that you're dealing with a professional who's going to be able to keep that tenant in place long term. Third, how do you handle maintenance? Now maintenance is a big deal. It's a big deal for your tenant in place, and it's a big expense for you as the property owner. I'm very surprised at the number of companies that outsource the maintenance side of things. So that means if the tenant calls in, somebody on the other side of the country, or hopefully not, but maybe the other side of the world, is answering that call and just dispatching a vendor. That's not what you want. You want to make sure that the property management company is picking up the phone, talking to that tenant, self-diagnosing the problem with the tenant, hopefully having the tenant self-correct that issue, telling them to go to the garbage disposal, press the little red button underneath. But you want to know how that company handles the maintenance. At what point do they involve you as the owner? But be very, very clear on that as the property owner. Fourth, how many properties do you manage? Now this is not a right or wrong, but you don't want normally to hire the company that's managing 10, 15 units because they're new. You also don't want the company necessarily that's huge because you become a number to them. Personally, what I like is that company that's big enough to know my name, to pick up the phone when I call. They're small enough to know that, but they're big enough to have all the bells and whistles in place to provide a good quality service. But beware of how big the company is you're working with, and just be comfortable with that from that perspective. Fifth, and this is a fun one, what's the most difficult problem you've encountered? How did you solve it? What this is going to tell you is how that company thinks, because this is what you're hiring a property management company for dealing with the unexpected, the problems that come up that nobody knows how to deal with. So when those issues arise, how are they going to react? Or you as the prospective client, think of a tough question that way and say, what would you do if my tenant called and said they refuse to pay rent next month and they're demanding their deposit back? What would you do in that case? But find out what unique, difficult situations they've encountered and what they've done to solve them. What is the term of the management agreement? Oh, this is big, this is big. Many companies want to lock you as the client in for a 12-month term, maybe a 2-year term, and maybe it rolls annually. I don't think that's a wise thing to do. If I'm interviewing, or if someone's interviewing me as a company, I can tell them all day long I'm the best company in town. But if I'm going to force them to work with me for 12 months or have a big termination fee if they leave early, that's not wise. So what you want to look for is a company that has a very short, ideally a month-to-month contract. That gives you as the customer peace of mind, knowing that if things don't work out, you can walk away. There aren't terminations, there aren't fees involved with that. This is a very important aspect of property management. And this is the way that the industry is somewhat going, but know this could almost be question number 1. Because if they want to lock you into a long-term contract, it may not be the best fit for you. And also know what fees, if any, are involved for you to break that contract, for you to get out and get away. Now, number 7 isn't really a question, but it's a recommendation, and that is this. I would not ask for references. Any company of any size at all is going to be able to find 2 or 3 owners, clients, to say something nice about them. Don't bother that. It's a waste of your time. What you want to do is you want to look for unfiltered, unbiased reviews. Go to the Better Business Bureau site. Google the company. Read Google reviews. Google unfiltered reviews are the best source of information because real-life tenants, real-life owners are going to go in there and they're going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly about that property management company. And it's going to give you a really good indication of how they treat their customers. So if you do these 7 things, it's a great starting point to deciding whether you want to recommend to your client, if you're a realtor, or if you want to use these individuals yourself as a potential client. We're right here in Denver. We've got a website on our dock, 20 questions for a property manager. If you've got other questions on that, consider us a resource when it comes to property management. Thank you.